What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel. On nootropics, on testosterone, on using nutraceuticals and supplements, and anything we have available to us within reason and that's legal to perform, feel, and function awesomely. Thanks so much for being with me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the bell to get notified of all our live streams. If you have the YouTube app, then you actually get notifications to your phone of all new content that I am putting out. A couple products support this broadcast. I'll explain them at the end of this video, but for now, the Cortex Stack. Relabeled, it just got a facelift to really reflect how powerfully dopaminergic that stack is. If you want a dopamine enhancement to your brain, buy Cortex and Torque. That's our second stack, full-on mental stimulation, a very, very hardcore, powerful, but clean stimulant. 8-hour window of efficacy. I'll explain it more at the end of this video. Links are in the description below to buy those products. Okay. Racetams killed my libido. Okay, so this is a real thing, so I don't want to gaslight folks in saying like it doesn't happen. It can happen. It's extremely rare. Like to give you an example, like I've consulted countless men on this and this has never happened, but it's because we're very carefully using the proper amount of choline with the proper amount for their brains of Racetams. Just to give you a primer, Racetams are basically making your brain fire cholinergic impulses, which is gonna release more acetylcholine, and that reservoir is finite. So that's why usually taking choline sources with Racetams is a good idea, because you don't want to have, any degree less than what you should of choline, free choline for the brain to convert to acetylcholine. All right, so this is a thing and it can happen. It's extremely rare, and the solution, and then we'll get to why this actually happens, is to just dose more choline, right? Choline by tartrate is probably your best bet, 300 milligrams or so. You probably get your libido back in a day or two, a week max. In some rare cases, it may take slightly longer. Depends on how long you've been using Racetams. But again, you'll never run into this problem if you're adequately replenishing choline post using Racetams, or you've got the right doses of choline when you're using Racetams. Let's talk about acetylcholine and libido and sex drive and general sexual function. It is massively intertwined. And if you want to do some reading on this, I would suggest you read a paper called Coordinated Acetylcholine Release and the Prefrontal Cortex and Hippocampus is Associated with Arousal and Reward on Distinct Timescales, where it essentially allows you to understand that a good part of that initial arousal process is acetylcholine release. To a lesser extent of importance, acetylcholine modulates internal moisture, sexual organ moisture. And so, I guess that's more relative to females, but it's also relative to males in a less significant way. But the neurotransmitter is involved in that process. In fact, the whole arousal process, the beginning cascades of arousal, do depend on the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. It's a very complex process with a lot of neurotransmitters and hormone impulses, but acetylcholine is a significant enough part of that. That's why this happens to a rare subset of folks where they get some sort of reduction in libido, right? Just the desire or the drive to have sex from using Racetams. It is because of an improper replenishment of choline post using the Racetam, or an improper amount of choline while using Racetams. And that's always difficult to determine, and that's kind of why you should at least read or watch, rather, Nootropics God Course, Nootropics Ground Zero, Nootropics Masterclass. Those are all courses on our website that teach you how to properly dose this stuff. That's why I'm so adamant about learning, how to use nootropics properly, so that you understand, the right amount of choline for the dose of Racetam that you use is absolutely necessary. And so that you understand, how to cycle Racetams. I would wager that a lot of people that are running into this issue are taking Racetams entirely too frequently, right? And they need to be cycled, man. You can't be constantly using Racetams, or at least you shouldn't. And if you are, because I've got cases where I'm working with people in that capacity, I've consulted folks on using Racetams consistently based on the demand that they needed at the time, whether they were in school or they were studying for some new real estate exam or whatever. But you've got to do it very carefully. It can be done, but it's got to be done carefully. The solution. Okay, the solution to Racetam-induced libido issues, which again I want to emphasize for the fourth time to hopefully hit this home, is extremely, extremely rare, is to get more choline. And look, you can do that with alpha GPC, 99%. 50 to 100 milligrams daily until you get libido back to where it was. Alternatively, you could use the same dose, 50 to 100 milligrams of CDP choline, again, until libido is fully restored, which should only take a couple days, depending on the severity of the situation, a week max for most folks. Or you could dose choline bitartrate at 300 milligrams every day until, you know, you're like, all right, libido's firing again, I'm like into sex again and whatever. And, you know, frankly, so that you don't run into potential for side effects with too much brain available, bioavailable choline, which you'll get with citicholine and alpha GPC, probably the better bet is to just use choline bitartrate for this. Okay, so that's the answer. You replenish choline, right? You know, the right amount of acetylcholine, and your libido will be back. If there's nothing else driving you from having, you know, driving your libido issues. I mean, you obviously have to understand what your testosterone numbers are. If your estradiol is too high, if prolactin is surging, you know, if some other drug is like anticholinergic or whatever, and that's inhibiting your libido, you've got to kind of look at the whole context. You got to make sure in your diet that you're consuming eggs, consuming beef, consuming fish, right? Eating stuff that has free choline in it so that your body and brain can convert that choline to usable acetylcholine. Other nootropics to help do this and to help make the process neurologically a lot easier would be Racetams. I mean, its sole job is to enhance the function of a process called high affinity choline uptake. And that is the taking of choline and the synthesizing of that choline into usable acetylcholine. 10 to 30 milligrams for a few days should upregulate choline synthesis. I'll point you to a paper called Choline-Associated Hypersexuality in a 79-year-old man, in which they describe after 6 weeks of regular choline consumption, the patient showed a pathological increase in libido and sexual urges. As choline was withdrawn, the hypersexuality disappeared within 5 days. Okay, so there's a lot of really good information and implications in that paper and in this video. It's like if you've got poor libido and testosterone is fine, then you may want to start supplementing with choline, because having high degrees or at least adequate, you know, level degrees of acetylcholine is pretty helpful for increasing libido. In fact, in some cases, like if I've either overdone Racetams or haven't, but sort of notice libido is dipping, like testosterone's in the right place, I'll just dose more choline. It's something I've known for many years and whatever, haven't talked about it all that much, but I mean, that's just one of the things that I've learned, you know, dealing with nootropics over the past, what is now 16 years. So perhaps to go and read that paper and understand that this 79-year-old dude was taking choline supplements and then pretty shortly after developed a very strong, seemingly insatiable sexual urge and had really, really high libido. Now, for most people, this is radical. This is exactly what we want. I mean, for most men, you absolutely want to be firing on all cylinders when it comes to libido. And if all of the things are correct, you know, then yeah, choline will help you do that. I mean, there's no question. It's a very, very powerful chemical for a lot of reasons, not just improving brain performance. Okay, but if you're concerned about this, or if you've read about it, or if you actually took Racetams and you're having some sort of fluctuation in your libido, it is almost guaranteed to be related to choline, okay? So make sure you've got some choline bitartrate in the mix. Start with 300 milligrams, dose it every day, and more than likely within a day or a few days, again, a week max, your libido is gonna come back to normal. That's all it really is. You just need to replenish the choline stores, get the brain comfortable with the amount of choline you have so that the sexual cascades can be comfortable in executing, you know, their sort of activation pathways, and then you get your libido fully restored. So take some choline if you've taken some Racetams, and you know, probably the case that you took too many Racetams too consistently, didn't adequately replenish choline, and now you have some libido issues that are transient. Believe me, get some choline back in the mix, you'll be firing on all cylinders again. Pleasure being with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the beginning, a couple products support this broadcast. Number one, the Cortex Stack. Look, 8 years on the market, very, very powerful dopamine energy. If you've never felt what dopamine energy feels like, imagine having things that you should be doing, like work or cleaning your house or whatever, starting a business, like, you know, doing something worthwhile, going to the gym, and you don't feel up to it, like you just do not have that like stimulated drive to do it. And then suddenly you do, right? That's dopamine, right? Dopamine energy will get you hyper interested in doing the things you should do. I mean, dopamine in general is just like very powerful for the sort of reward mechanics in your brain to get you engaged in doing stuff. That's what Cortex delivers. It's also very reparative in that CDP, choline, and uridine together work on neurogenesis, spawning new neurons. That is a very significant thing to have going on in your brain. So buy a bottle of Cortex, livecortex.com. The stuff is powerful. Get true, clean, stimulant, dopamine energy with the Cortex Nootropic Stack. Recently rebranded, got a facelift to match just how epic it is for dopamine. You want a dopamine stack, buy Cortex. The link is in the description below, or you can go to livecortex.com. Our second stack, literally killing it out there. I mean, the most purchased nootropic stack on the internet. Reviews are insane. It's making so many waves, we're getting attacked by competitors. Because they're like, what is going on? Like, people aren't buying our stuff. They're buying Torque, because Torque is exceptionally powerful. Mental energy, motivation, stimulation. It is the most potent, clean stimulant you can find in a nootropic stack, okay? Buy Torque, livecortex.com. Rapid 2-day shipping on both of our stacks. Nobody wants to wait. So that option is there, okay? You can have your stack to your doorstep in 2 days from the time that you order. Most folks love the stacks and get them on auto renew subscription. Have it shipped to your doorstep every 30 days. Imagine a beautiful box coming to your doorstep every 30 days with the raw materials, the nootropics, capsules, to make your brain function awesome, make you feel great, to improve your mood, to improve your functioning. That is what we're about. Get those products at livecortex.com. Pleasure being with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my other channel. It's attached to this channel. It's called Ryan Michael Ballo, where I talk about success, business, life, philosophy, mindset. All really, really powerful, really, really good stuff. Again, you can find that channel on the homepage of this channel on YouTube, or just search for Ryan Michael Ballo on YouTube and subscribe to my new channel. Lots of cool content over there. Appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you soon.